Live.
All right. Welcome to Keep It Warriors, presented by CrossfitMMA.com. I am your host, Eddie Law, and as always with me, please welcome from Gem City Fighting and Stand and Bang MMA, the beard and bun master himself, Fred Kirby, straight out of Ohio. How you doing, man?
Great. How y'all doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. Feeling all right today. And then, of course, from Stand and Bang MMA, Heitor Emelianenko, Aaron Robbins. What's up, dude?
Nothing. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, man. All right, let's get right into it. Packed show today. Plenty of shit to talk about, plenty of shit to say and talk, and all that crap that we always get to. So let's get right to it with UFC Manila, which went down on Saturday, straight from the Philippines. Early-ass card. Okay, I know on the West Coast it was early as shit, and the East Coast it was a little better. How much of the card, Fred, did you get to see?
I got to see most of it. I think I was actually up for all of it, but I was fucking still half asleep for the first two prelims, so I kind of fucking zombied through them. But once the card started on FS1, I seen it all. I woke up for it.
Cool. And Aaron, did you get to catch all of it?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Because I do want to get into at least one of the Fight Pass prelim fights, which was fucking awesome. The fight between John De Los Reyes and Roldan Sanchez-An. I don't know how to say his name. Sanchez-An. Really action-packed fight. It was actually a lot of fun to watch. Kick it off with Aaron. What do you think of that fight? Did you find it as entertaining as I did?
Yeah, I think that fight was one of the highlights of the card, actually. And I'm glad they do this sometimes when there's a lot of finishes. They will grab a Fight Pass prelim and use it as a timekeeper or like a space filler for the regular card. And they were able to do that this time for the unfortunates who don't drop the $8 a month or whatever it is on Fight Pass. But actually, overall, I think that some of these early cards and the foreign cards and stuff like that sometimes leave me flat. Except for a couple of fights in this one, I was actually really pleased with UFC Manila.
Yeah, no, I actually had a lot of fun with this one, man. I mean, maybe that top to bottom of some of the prelim fights. For example, the very first one with Nolan Tuckman and the other cat whose name I can't pronounce. Tuckman actually, I think it was Tuckman or Tickman, something like that. He couldn't get. I don't know. He wasn't trying at all. He was kind of just trying to Nolan Tickman, sorry. And he was just trying to kind of grind it out, wrestle it out, and he actually he should have won the fight by the scorecards, but he ended up losing, and he looked like someone just killed his dog on the street. Did you get to watch that one, Fred?
No.
The very first one? No. Aaron, did you see it?
Don't.
Yeah, I saw the fight, but you do bring up a good point. There was questionable scoring, just like always. There was a couple of those fights, and I think the first one is one where I thought it could have gone either way, but obviously it looked like the guys from the Philippines or from Asia were getting a little bump. Nowhere near as bad as Philippe Nover. I'm sure that we'll talk about him later, but there was a couple of them where it's like, God damn, man. Every single time the UFC brings us one of these foreign cards with a bunch of local boys on there, you can tell that there is some bullshit biased scoring.
Fuck it. Why wait? You're right. Exactly. Let's get right to that. Philippe Nover, that was a fucking robbery, right? And it was in the Philippines, and you're right. It does seem like this shit happens, ironically, quite often in these motherfuckers' home countries where you'll get a really odd decision. And we always talk about it, and I always like to say that I would hate to believe that there's actually home cooking going on where they fucking just give these guys the fights, but weird shit like this happens all the time. What the fuck? He clearly lost that fight, right?
Yep.
Clearly.
I don't know. Do you think clearly? Because there's a lot of guys saying that he obviously won the first round with level 9,000 turtle fucking, and then about halfway through the second round, his opponent started to take over. Eddie, remind me who his opponent was.
I got the list right here. Oh wow, this thing's messing up. Yui Chul Nam.
Okay, Nam, right. Nam started taking over in the second, but see, the thing with me is that obviously Philippe won the first round, that's fine. But the way that Nam took over in the second round gives him that second round. Philippe was dominant in the first half of the second round, but not doing anything. It was the same, boring wrestling style. We talked with Justin Gaethje, and we've talked with a lot of wrestlers, and I don't want to shit on wrestling. I don't mind grappling. I like grappling, but not the way Nover does it. That is the worst kind of smothering. He doesn't do anything with it. Just the fact that you can pick somebody's ankle and lay on top of him doesn't mean you win the fight. Now, when Nam reversed him, he started doing damage. He started clocking him. And now, in my opinion, if somebody's dominant in that way, the judges should have seen the second round for Nam, and then obviously he just ran away with it in the third round. But Philippe Nover, gone for, as Fred would say, a month of Sundays. He's a Filipino, and he gets the decision. And wasn't there one judge that just gave him a wild decision? Or was it
actually?
Or was it the 29-28 across the board?
It was 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Split decision.
Okay, well, at least it wasn't the whole suspect, one judge sees it 30-27 for the whole. But still, no, Philippe Nover didn't win that fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, Fred, you had something on that?
It just worries me, man. It worries me that maybe there is some home cooking going on. I mean, what the fuck? The judges aren't robots. Maybe the cute cocksuckers do just give their countrymen the benefit of the doubt, which is some complete fucking bullshit. Like going into foreign soil knowing you got to kind of low-key finish the fight, or they might fuck around and not score it for you. That fucking blows, man. It puts a lot of pressure on fighters.
Well, Ed, I know that you get to go to like events every now and then, World Series of Fighting, stuff like that. I've been to a smaller Bellator event, and I've been to some regionals, and I will tell you, Fred, with absolutely no doubt, there is home soil advantage in those situations. Chances are the judges are going to give the benefit of the doubt if it's close to the home guy.
No, I absolutely agree with that. We see it in Brazil all the time. In fact, that's the running joke. If you're going to fight in Brazil, you better finish your fight if you're not a Brazilian, because those damn Brazilians will be like, hey, fuck all that shit. Boom. Actually,
that's some fucking bullshit, though, man. I mean, it is what it is, though. That's the way the world works. So, fuck it. I guess you hear that, fighters? If you're going over fucking seas, you better finish that shit or try. And whatever. For the record, I'm glad. We'll get into that shit later, but I'm so motherfucking sick and tired of people not trying to finish fights and point fighting on different terms. Like, we'll get into it, but fuck. Like, yeah. Finish your fights. Or try to, at least. Fuck.
Yeah, never leave it in the hands of the judges. But let's talk about Neil Magny, Fred. What's up, boy?
All right. You know what? I'm glad we're doing this. First off, let me say, because all you motherfuckers out there can never say that I can't admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong. I was very fucking wrong about Neil Magny. And Hung Yu Lim for that fucking record. Mm-hmm. I really did think that Hung Yu Lim, and just for the fucking record, he almost did it. He almost knocked Neil Magny's ass out like 2 minutes into the fight. I thought that that's what would happen. He would get that finish and that he would finish Neil Magny. I don't know, man. I wasn't sold on Neil Magny. I thought Hung Yu Lim was a powerful striker and that this was a fight to kind of expose Neil Magny and put an end to the silly nonsense with him and his silly win streak. And I gotta say, man, he shut me the fuck up. He took the fucking licks in the first round. Although Hung Yu Lim did blow his wad pretty well, he took the licks and he actually came back and finished the fucking fight. And I gotta say, he fucking took my respect in the process. Hats off, Neil Magny. You got it, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, look, overall, I was kind of with you at the beginning with the whole, Neil Magny's gonna get knocked out. Actually, I picked Lim to win the fight in that UFC pick'em thing, but only because I just don't think Neil Magny has much. I don't think he can handle much competition. But Aaron, you watched the fight. What do you think of this one?
All right, I think that Magny was exposed a little bit by Lim, and Lim more gave that fight away because of his terrible striking when he got excited. When he had Magny rocked, had he taken a half a tick, set down and actually landed those 7 other shots that just hit air molecules all around Magny. I was talking to Fred about this. Pin your opponent up against the cage. It's not illegal. You know what I mean? Put a hand on his shoulder. Get a rangefinder out there. I mean, he was striking like a soccer player. When he got excited, he just lost his mind. He looked like a kid flat fighting with his brother or something like that. It was embarrassing. And that's exactly what he did. He got an adrenaline rush, he adrenaline dump, and Neil Magny took advantage of the time to recover and then obviously whipped his ass. But, I've got mad respect for Neil Magny because he's smart. I think that he and his management team are picking the right fights. And what's happening is we're starting to see his potential and his talent start to equal his fight streak. He's having enough time now to actually train to be the fighter that everybody is saying that he is. But until he calls out somebody in the top 10, or they start giving him a little deeper competition, I'm still out on him because Lim did rock him. And 2 more punches, that fight would have went completely different. So I want to see how he holds up under pressure, and I want to see how he holds up under pressure for more than 30 seconds. Like when you got a guy who can legit pressure him for a couple rounds to see if he wilts or if he always comes back from adversity like this.
Now, do you think he's going to try and Conor McGregor it by beating a bunch of shitheads and then trying to fucking get a title shot?
Way to be a dick.
I'm just trying. Look, you're on the show, bitch. I had to bring it up. All right, Aaron, do you think he's trying to do something like that?
No, I do think that his management team and him are definitely wanting to keep that streak alive. They're definitely wanting to have him have an impressive record, but I don't think that he'll jump right to a title shot or wanting a title shot. I think what will happen is he'll have one more shitbird fight. His management team will feel confident in his skills, and then they'll throw him like anywhere from 5 to 7. And then if he wins there, then of course with 8 or 9 fights or whatever it is in a row, then yeah, you kind of do have to have him throw his hat in for at least a #1 contendership or one of those strange, I'm still number 6, but I get to fight for the title.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Conor McGregor. Anyway, what's up, Fred? You saying something?
No, listen, I think that there is definitely... Who did he call out after the fight? Did he call out, like, Rick Story?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
what?
No, was it?
Yeah.
It was definitely... It was a head-scratcher. If I was Neil Magny, I would have called out GS motherfucking P. I would have been like, I got fucking 7 wins, motherfucking don't be scared, homie. Where the fuck is my big fight at? I'll tell you what, man, just to segue into something here. I think there's a right way to promote yourself after the fight and a wrong way. Neil Magny failed miserably. He does earn my respect as a fighter because I think Hung Yu Lim is a bad, tough motherfucker, and Neil Magny did his thing. He finished him. But afterwards, Rick Story and all that bullshit, wah, 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 I'll fight whoever the UFC wants, wah, wah. It did nothing for me.
Fred, on an honest point, he could have said, I want GSP, and it would have been just as realistic because Rick Story's already scheduled the fight. That's what didn't make any sense. Not that he bunted, you know what I mean? It was just like, Rick Story, whatever. The dude already has a fight. At least pick a shitbird that you think you can beat that doesn't have a fight, so you guys can start a little bit of fire, i.e. Elias Theodoro, Sam Alvey stuff going on, something where you can get a little talk, little hype behind the fight. Why don't you go, I want anybody in the division that already has a contracted fight, so I can't possibly get at him.
Exactly. First off, Neil Magny should be shooting for the fucking stars. He should have called out Matt Brown or Johnny Hendricks or the biggest name he can get, because then you just get something lower. But you're fucking right. As bad as Neil Magny was, Sam Alvey was right. He did it right. After the fight, he fucking called out a guy that makes a lot of sense for him, that's on a little fucking win streak. He fucking actually sold me after the fight. Even though he had a big performance, like, I felt like after fucking the fight with the whole fucking spray tan and shit, that dude actually did it right this time and actually fucking made a name for himself, man. Neil Magny fucking should have took a page out of his book and did some shit. I don't know, called out somebody special, did something memorable. He's on a fucking 7-fight win streak now, right?
Yep.
Fucking longest in the UFC, and still, even I barely give a fuck.
You know what I'd love to if he actually called out GSP and GSP's like, okay. And like he shits his pants at that point, like, oh no. No, you went mighty wrong there, sir.
He should see dollar signs.
That wouldn't be a competition. Another guy that I want to talk about on the card is Zhang Lang. Good old Zhang Lian. Let's talk about him a little bit.
Li Jianlian, who, look, man, I thought Diego Lima was gonna come back and do something, and he incredibly let me down with the, like, not even glass chin. What's worse than glass? Like a sand chin. What the hell's going on with Lima, first of all?
I told you guys about that. I have compared Douglas and Diego, and no offense to Diego Lima, I've interviewed the guy. You know what I mean? I just think that there are guys that just genetically cannot be hit in the face. And in his last performance, that was exposed. He's been in trouble all 3 fights. In his first performance, his first real performance at his own weight class, after the tough finale where he got beat by Eddie Gordon, he struggled in his first match. It was close. He had to come back from adversity. His second fight, he was exposed, and he got he got TKO'd. And in this one, it shows that boy might as well think about a career in coaching, where unlike his brother Douglas, who's tough as nails but get injured a lot, Diego simply cannot take a punch. And I don't think it matters who's hitting him. I know that Zhang Liang has a good punch on him, but no, I don't think it matters. I think if he gets touched in the face, he's going to start walking in potholes. I think he seriously needs to consider not fighting. I think he's just one of those guys where you might be technically skilled all day long. That's great. Stay in Georgia, the Georgia top team there. Be a coach. Make money that way. But it doesn't matter. And Fred said, send him to Bellator, World Series of Fighting. People still punch you in the face there. And so it's not going to matter where he goes. He's just one of those guys who can't take a shot.
He got knocked out by a Chinese grappler nicknamed the Leech.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty bad.
That's it, Jack. That's all I got to say on that. Like, he got knocked out by a Chinese grappler nicknamed the Leech. When you get knocked out by...
What difference does it make his nickname?
It's the fucking Leech. You ever seen a leech? You know what a leech does? It does not knock you out. It fucking sticks to you like stink on shit.
Sucks the life out of you. But if his name was the Asian Express, it still wouldn't have made no difference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. His nickname implies that he is a fucking lay and pray, hugging Asian grappler, and he just knocked you out.
Okay,
you need to
why do you
rethink
keep
your
saying
career.
Chinese and Asian? Why are we talking?
Because they're not known for their fucking grappling, are they?
What are you talking about grappling? Wait, what are you talking about?
He is a... What the fuck is going on? Are we having a conversation here? The fucking Chinese grappler nicknamed the Leech. The last time I checked, China was not known for their fucking grappling. And a leech is an animal that latches onto you and holds you. What the fuck? He should not be knocking out nobody. What's going on with you guys?
Right. Hey, you know what? While we have Eddie rolling and Fred all discombobulated because he thinks he's in his own conversation, fuck the whole lay and pray thing. Everybody who watched Stand and Bang with Jake Shields, keep your little cute asshole comments to yourself about Jake not standing and banging. We also had Justin Gaethje, who is the king of stand and bang. So all you guys who think you're fucking creative and lay and pray, shut your mouth. Listen to the show. I'll bet you if we locked you in a room with Jake Shields, he'd fuck you up all sorts of ways. So just shut up.
Oh, dude, seriously, when you guys put that episode out, and here's the thing, I saw the fucking tweets or the comments you guys were getting on Reddit where it's like, that's ironic, Jake Shields on Stand and Bang. I immediately thought I need to start a show called Lay and Pray and see what happens. Like, what does this motherfucker got to say if I get Jake Shields on that? Like,
well, it's just always humorous to me. Now, obviously, this is satire. We're the keyboard warriors. This is for entertainment. This is a show. Obviously, since we all have MMA shows and MMA websites, we have mad respect for MMA fighters. And always, whenever one of these lazy pricks sitting on Twitter has a little comment to say, oh, Jake Shields, you know what? Keep your mouth shut. What have you done? He's been fighting for 14 years. He beat Dan Henderson. He's beat a laundry list of awesome fighters. What have you done? Took a day and a half to make a tweet? Shut your fat ass.
I'll tell you what Nick just did. He just scared the shit out of me.
I love that I come on and Aaron just says pricks. That's the first thing that I come on to.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us a little late, Mr. Nick Pilecki from Carlson's MMA. What's up, dude?
What's going on, man?
Not much. You know, we kind of needed the Michael Jackson voice in the show tonight, so it's all good.
Now,
Son of a bitch.
Nick, since you're late, we're not going to rewind the show for you. You start where we're at now. So
that is perfectly fine.
All right. Well, you know what? You're
main card, Manila. Enough with the banter. Come on, where are we at? Main card?
Yeah, we're main card right now. Let's go ahead and just jump into the what do they call it? People's fight, whatever they call it. Some people call it the real main event, which for the Filipino people was Mark Munoz taking on Luke Bernat. And look, Mark Munoz did what Mark Munoz, he looked like a wrestler, and that's what he is. That was honestly, I was very, very happy for Mark. It was a great send-off. The way Anna gave him the microphone and just let him talk was, by the way, you don't do. Everyone knows you don't give him the mic. Aaron, what do you think of the performance and of Mark Munoz's farewell speech?
I was absolutely pleased by it. Mark was nice enough to come on the Stand and Bang and give a nice, heartfelt interview that nobody seemed to want to listen to. But it's out there. If you want to listen to it now, people, Mark Munoz. But anyways, he looked great. But he had told us that he was going to go back to being what he was before, which is primarily a wrestler and if he could get you down, then start landing that big ground and pound. And then on the other hand, I do have to say, Luke Barnett, if nothing else, the guy might look like an extra from The Hills Have Eyes, but that guy can take a punch. That was ridiculous. I don't know if it's because, like, the ratio of fist to planetoid size was off so much, because I don't know if you noticed how huge Luke Barnett's dome piece is, but Munoz landed some serious shots, wobbled him a little bit, but couldn't get him out there. And no, I think for a final performance, it couldn't have gone better unless it was a knockout.
Definitely. And look, the thing about it is I was one of the people that said, look, Mark Munoz is literally 2 legs and 1 arm out the door. And I was hoping that we were going to see the performance that we ended up seeing, but I was afraid we were going to see a guy that would not quit, but would be like, oh, I'm already on my way out, fuck it, you know. But he brought it, man.
Like Koscheck?
Like Koscheck, exactly, except without the foamy rabbit shit on his mouth. But Fred, what'd you think of that fight, man?
It was a great fight, man. It was a perfect way for Mark to go out. I mean, other than him getting a quick finish or just something terribly dominant, it was Did you do that shit when I start talking on purpose, don't you, Nick? You fucked me up with that shit.
Here we go. Again with this. Why do we have to have 2 Nick Pileckis on the show every time?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a good performance, man. It was about as good as Mark could have hoped for, right? I mean, but honestly, I think that his speech afterwards was almost better than his performance, man. That shit was heartfelt as fuck. You felt really fucking good for Mark, and I tell you what, man, I think the dude is doing it right, man. Because I do think that his time to shine as a fighter is done. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though he looked pretty good in this fight, he was fighting a guy nicknamed the Big Slow. And quite frankly, Luke Barnett fights like a guy that should be nicknamed the Big Slow. He might bust my ass, but on a professional fighting level, Luke Barnett might need to fucking rethink his shit too. But great retirement fight for Mark Munoz. I'm happy for him. Great speech. It was tight, man.
All right. Hey, look, with as much energy as you got, Nick, what do you think of this fight?
I actually was very impressed with Mark Munoz.
God damn, you are tired, aren't you? You came up. I said as much energy as you got, dude.
I'm exhausted. I'll get into it later. But I was very, very impressed with Mark. I didn't expect that at all. I thought Luke Barnett was just going to keep him at range and just pick him apart. But no, Mark Munoz came out as his retirement fight and wanted to fight, and he did with that. And like Fred said, his speech afterwards was awesome. I really respected it, and it's awesome. We rarely get to see a retirement fight and the fighter actually get a win, and a very decisive win in that. So,
was anybody afraid that Mark Munoz is gonna have this? What the fucking dude? You can't make that face and not expect me to fucking laugh.
Wait, what face? What are you talking about?
Not you, dude. Not you. Don't worry. Anyway, it was Aaron. Everyone thought. Anyway, all right, yeah. You know what I was afraid of? That Mark Munoz was the way he fought was pretty good. I thought for a second he'd be like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not retiring. I'm gonna stay. I'm glad he's going away. Everyone thought he should have gone away after his last fight, so that was a plus. I like fighters that stick to their word. All right, the co-main event was Gegard Mousasi against Kostas Philippou, and Gegard, dominated him. Plain and simple. There was no other way to put it. Aaron, what do you think of Mousasi? Do you think he's ready for a title shot, maybe like a #1 contender fight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's earned it. I can't get down with him. I don't like his fight style. He is boring in every sense of the word. His affect is boring. The way he talks is boring. The way he fights is boring. Honestly, after Mark Munoz did what he did to Big Slow, I think I actually took the Philippou Mousasi break. I think that's when I went and did some stuff. I went to the bathroom and made a sandwich, or I don't know. I just completely tuned out. I think maybe that's when I caught up on social media, tweeted out to you guys about Munoz for a while, congratulated him. I barely watched the fight because it was already a foregone conclusion. Not that Gegard Mousasi doesn't have a lot of talent. It's just his type of talent. Just I don't care who he fights. I'm just checked out. I know that's biased, but I just check out of every single one of his fights.
I mean, it makes sense, and he did make it kind of boring. But he said he was trying to find a way to finish, but I don't know. Philippou just had enough defense to not get finished on the ground. Fred, you watched the fight. What do you think of Mr. Mousasi?
I think you guys should go fuck yourselves. I completely disagree with you guys. I like Mousasi. I like the fact that he's a cold-blooded assassin from Europe, and I think that this fight was, I think that this fight was actually pretty interesting, man. I like the way Mousasi fights. I think that even his ground and pound was aggressive. I think he is a fucking guy that looks for the finish. He might have not got it, but I think he usually looks for it. And you know what's funny about it is, I know that all you cute little pricks are about to ride the Frankie train in the next fight. So we'll save it for them. But I'll say right now that I fucking enjoyed this fight way more than the next one. And I think that Gegard is a fucking exciting, fun, aggressive fighter. Dr. fucking
Listen, I just have one thing to say to that asswipe. If he's a cold-blooded assassin, how come he didn't finish?
Hey, what the fuck? He was fighting a fucking tough fucking Puerto Rican from New York.
Assassins kill people. They don't lay on top of them for 15 minutes. So shut your yapper.
That's why I can't even see you.
Nick is agreeing with what Fred was saying. Nick, what were you saying? What were you thinking?
I have to agree with Aaron. I thought it was that Mousasi's just a boring fighter. Yes, he goes for the finish. Yes, he tries to go for the finish. But if he's a cold-blooded killer, he should have finished the fight, and he didn't. He laid on top of him all 5 rounds. It was very, very boring. The next fight, the main event, was more entertaining in my opinion than this fight in general, but for different reasons. Fuck you.
Nick, I love that you're agreeing with me. But did he lay on top of him for 2 extra rounds? Because I think that fight was only 3 rounds.
3 rounds. 3 rounds.
Okay. I'm just checking to see if you got bonus footage or something.
Start making shit up. Jesus Christ.
They went extra rounds in the showers, bro. You didn't know?
Yeah, they didn't know.
I'll tell you what, that fight was so fucking boring, it did seem like 5 rounds.
You know what, though? Actually, Aaron Reed agrees with Fred, saying that Fred is right for once. Mousasi's excellent. So
Aaron Reed? You mean Andrew?
Andrew Reed.
Aaron Reed.
Christ.
Did I say Aaron?
All been smoking or drinking tonight?
Hey, look, it's been a fucking long day. Anyway, but
all days are the same amount of hours, Eddie.
It depends how many you work. All right, that's what I'm saying. So okay, well, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the main event. Frankie Edgar against Uriah Faber. Nobody really look. A lot of people expected a big super fight and all that. Fucking Frankie Edgar dominated Uriah Faber for 5 solid rounds. Now here's where I think so. We'll start off with Fred here. First of all, a lot of people on Twitter said the fight was boring. I don't agree at all whatsoever. Fred, did you think the fight was boring, entertaining, and overall, what did you think of Frankie Edgar's performance?
Okay, was the fight boring? You betcha it was. I did not really love that fight at all. Listen, all bullshit aside, the way y'all felt about Gegard's fight, that's how I felt about the Frankie fight. I can't get into watching Frankie fight, man. He is like the striking equivalent of GSP for me. That's when I started snoozing out, man. I just can't. I don't expect Frankie to finish anybody ever. And every fucking fight, he stays fucking true to his word, and he never gets a. No matter how dominant he is, he never gets that fucking finish, man. Or, he got the finish against fucking BJ Penn when BJ Penn came out fucking fighting like he was on fucking methamphetamines. I don't know what the fuck his deal with the stand-up was, but I don't know, man. Frankie don't do it for me, man. I was not. Was his performance dominant as fuck? Sure. Is he technically brilliant? Yes. He's a great fighter. He throws punches and bunches. He never gets tired. He's got great footwork. I don't give a fuck. I want to see somebody get hurt. And Frankie don't do it for me, Jack.
All right, well, look, because you agree with most people saying the fight was boring. I actually saw a lot of people comparing him, calling him the Floyd Mayweather MMA. Do you agree with that?
No, because Frankie's got that ass whooped before.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
See, but that you could have done so much better on that last little part, and you just blew it, Chewbacca. No, at least he's
undefeated. He's not Floyd. He's not Floyd.
What they're saying is defensive point boxer, and no, Frankie's aggressive. He just doesn't do anything with the aggression. And once again,
what the fuck does that mean?
You had your piece.
Oh, right.
Shut your beard. You had your piece. Now listen, was the fight boring? No, it was just ineffective as shit. And so, once again, Fred, you're wrong. I'm not going to jump on the Edgar train. That looked like 2 fucking bouncy balls locked in a small room that never really got anything done. I'll tell you what, by about the 3rd round, I had a fucking headache watching those 2 little bouncy bricks. Sit down for 30 seconds and actually hit each other. or do something. Don't just bounce and 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 bounce. I'm very happy that you have a never-ending gas tank, but that does make for a fucking tedious fight. And that's my word for that fight. It was tedious. It was tedious to watch. I never hope it happens again. You can't put two frenetic guys like that in together and have it not be a tedious fight unless one of them gets lucky and actually hits the other one hard enough to change the tide of it. To me, it just looked like just a bunch of bouncing around and little pity-pat strikes. No one sat down on their punches. No one really went for it. So yeah, I don't agree it was boring, but it was tedious.
You know, I'd have to agree with that. I did not find it boring at all. But I understand. I understand what people were saying when saying it was boring. Now, Nick, yes. Let's bring it in from the Uriah Faber aspect. What do you think of Faber's performance, and what do you think comes up for him, coming up or moving forward?
In my opinion, Faber in the first round, that's all he actually got to actually go and do everything until Edgar actually caught him and started picking him apart and started doing whatever Edgar does. Faber just could not pull the trigger, in my opinion. He had the skills to do it and actually shock the world, but he just couldn't pull the trigger. What's next for Faber? He's still going to be main evented. He's still going to be up there. He's still, quote unquote, a title contender, but it's just.
Okay, he disappeared. All right, so moving on.
That's fine. That's
Nick Black has been abducted by aliens.
The gods are cutting Nick off. They're like, Nick, you've had your say, my dude. Thank you very much.
The MMA gods are like, nope. All right, Aaron retweeting over. Did Aaron have his favorite kitten stolen?
His fucking name is
Andrew.
You said Aaron twice.
Damn it. All right. I'm going to say Reed. Reed said, did Aaron have his favorite kitten stolen today? He's mightily grumpy. Do you have a cat?
I have 2 cats. And no, if they got stolen, that would make me happy, you British prick. No, I'm just angry about the whole situation. I'm always angry. What's new about this? I'm always angry on this fucking show. It's the whole point. It's why I'm here. I'm the angry guy.
He's the angry guy because he can't get angry on his show.
Hey, have you ever gotten angry on Stand and Bang? Even a little bit?
Nope.
Afterwards.
All right. Let's okay. So final remarks of UFC Manila. Nick, go ahead and go first. Overall, UFC Manila, the card. As the first fucking UFC event in the Philippines, what do you think?
I liked it. I got to wake up early ass in the morning, watch some MMA, and still have my day to do. So I liked it. It was entertaining. The card was good, except for the Masasi fight. I don't care what you say, Fred. And yeah, it was a good card.
Fred, get back at him. What do you think of the whole card overall?
I agree. What the fuck? I agree. It was fun, man. It was a good card to wake up and watch. There were some finishes. All the fights were relatively fun, bar a couple. Quite frankly, if fucking Frankie and Uriah hadn't low-key stunk up the main event, it would have been a really great card. But at least there was some big names, so you got that. It was a solid card for Manila. The first time being there, it was good.
Yeah, Aaron. So overall, I mean, look, you watched the entire card. The crowd was actually really good. I was impressed with the crowd overall. What do you think of the whole card?
I was happy with the entire card. And actually, you know what? I don't mind the early morning cards, like what Nick was saying. You get to wake up, watch your MMA right away in the day, and then you can do whatever else. I don't really like it when they have those weird ass like 2 in the afternoon cards. But if they do the 7 in the morning, where it's actually just like your morning is UFC, that's pretty awesome. I liked it. So overall, yeah, I give that one a thumbs up.
I'd agree with that as well. I love the early cards. Of course, this one started at 4 a.m. Arizona time, so I did have to go to work, so I caught the first two fights before I had to go to work, and I barely made it back for co-main and main, but I ended up watching the rest of it later on. All right, let's move on here to Mr. Wanderlei Silva. His punishment, if you haven't heard, has been overturned by a judge in the Nevada district. It was ruled on Friday saying that the punishment of the lifetime ban and the $70,000 fine is going to be overturned due to it being, quote, in excess of statutory authority of the agency, end quote, which we know NSAC has been full of shit before and decided to go after motherfuckers because they want to put their names in the paper and be the toughest commissioner on the fucking planet and all that. So what does this mean for Silva? He's going to have to reappear in front of the NSAC again, but here's the key, and I'm going to throw this out here before we go to Aaron on what he thinks of this whole thing. The argument put forward by Silva's attorney, basically saying that the Nevada State Athletic Commission doesn't have a proper jurisdiction because Silva wasn't a licensed fighter when they attempted to drug test him. That argument was thrown out. So basically saying that he wasn't licensed and thus shouldn't have been drug tested. That argument, gone. And so now he goes without that argument back in front of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. What do you think on this on Wanderlei, Aaron?
Okay, I think it's kind of just like an academic thing. I think, yeah, they were forced to lift the lifetime ban to bring him back in front of the committee and then have him slammed again. He's not going to fight again. It just won't matter. And for him to say that it's history, this guy is just so punch drunk at this point. You know what I mean? I mean, does it really matter? It might save him the $70,000, right? Is that what we're looking at this point? It might save him that. But past that, what does it really do? Wanderlei's not going to fight anymore. Even Dana White is not silly enough in the head to be like, yeah, Wanderlei, come on back. Let's have another one of your shit shows. It's done. You know, the fighters don't want him back. The fans don't want him back. The only person who likes Wanderlei Silva at this point is Wanderlei Silva. What the fuck ever. Put him back in front of the athletic commission. Let him slam him with a 2-year suspension and a lesser fine or whatever's going to happen. But let's just stop making this news. This is just like silly. It's completely inconsequential. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, and here's the thing. No one told Wanderlei this. He thinks that it's a historic event and all this shit, and that it's like a big step forward for him. He's gonna come back and fight and shit. First of all, he's 38 years old. Second, he's talked a shit ton of shit about the UFC, who he's under contract. He can't go anywhere else. What the fucking fuck? Fred, what the hell?
You just said it, man. You just said it. Like, first off, y'all said it. Nobody cares, for one. Even, like, hypothetically, let's say he could get licensed. Let's just say he could, for the sake of argument. Let's say when he goes back, they license him, and he can come back. Okay, he's ran his mouth on the UFC. The UFC's got plenty more. Their train is rolling plenty good without Wanderlei. They don't need him. So they'll kick him to the curb. What's the best case scenario? He ends up in Bellator, fucking fighting Kimbo Slice, and that's literally best case scenario for him at this point. That's not going to happen. But in a fantasy world, that's what happens for Wanderlei. So, yeah, nah, man. Like, it really does not matter. That's not going to happen. He's going to get a suspension one way or the other. But even if he didn't, there's nowhere for him to go. The UFC don't want him back, and nobody else cares. Honestly, on some real shit, what I would do if I was Wanderlei would catch the fucking red eye back to Japan or fucking Singapore or wherever the fuck ONE FC is located at. I'd go over there and I would start stomping motherfuckers' skulls out that ain't got no business to be in the cage with me because they'd give me mismatches. They wouldn't give a fuck if I was roided out of my gills. He ain't got shit for North America no more, period.
Yeah, I was always wondering why he hasn't done that shit yet. I mean, look, the suspension, with the lifetime ban and everything, you don't run from a drug test. Again, the argument's been thrown out that he wasn't a licensed fighter. Nick, do you see, let's say best case scenario, they take off a lifetime ban, they give him like a year suspension, they give him the $70,000 or they lower the $70,000 fine to like 30 or something like that. Do you even care to see Wanderlei Silva fight anymore?
No, I really don't. And if best case scenario he does go, he gets signed, whatever, he'll get signed by Bellator, and we'll see him like Fred said against Kimbo, maybe Chael Sonnen. But other than that, if Chael Sonnen ever touches a cage again, other than that, I really don't care. I don't want to see him fight unless it's that Chael Sonnen fight. Anything else, I really don't care.
I'll tell you what. I like Fred's idea. I do think that Asian market. We're actually going to be messing with a couple of guys from ONE FC this week on the show. Actually, I think we have to interview them tomorrow or something like that. They're over in Singapore. We're going to be talking with Ev Ting and Stephen Langdon. But, they're a lot looser with the rules, the PEDs, the everything. So, like the Chael Sonnens, the Wanderlei Silvas, have, like, instead of super fights, like super freak fights. Hey, you know what I mean? Soccer kicks galore and knees to a downed opponent and all that kind of stuff. I could go for that. I mean, I might actually tune in to see Wanderlei stomp out some poor little Asian kid that doesn't know what he got into. I know that's sick. I know. But I'm just saying, I probably would.
You're right, though. I think that would bring kind of some, like quote-unquote, hardcore casuals back around, because ONE FC is almost, even to the hardcore fans, ONE FC is still kind of a mystery, man. Nobody really knows shit about ONE FC. Even, like, old-school Pride fans and cats that used to be into Japanese MMA, like even Dream and shit like that, ONE FC hasn't really caught on yet. And I think it's because they haven't done that. They haven't really went the freak show route. They got Ben Askren. They got Shinya Aoki. They tried to go very kind of legit style with it. Dream had the fucking Super Hawk tournament, which was a fucking literal joke. But I tell you what, I woke up at the ass crack of dawn to watch it. Fucking Minowa Man fighting that fucking giant Hungman Choi or fucking whatever the fuck was going on. it was interesting, man. So yeah, bring over Wanderlei Silva. And I tell you what, another thing is, man, kind of segueing off topic, this whole Reebok deal with the UFC, dude, I do think within the next year or so, if that shit stays true, the MMA landscape could start looking very different. Like, you could start having different names in Bellator. Wanderlei could roll to Japan. Say Wanderlei and a couple other cats go to Japan and they get a couple freak show fighters, a couple kickboxers. Shit could look really interesting here in about another year, man, the way shit's unfolding.
That's a good point. It's one thing when you have Brendan Schaub complaining. It's another thing when you got a company man like Donald Cerrone talking about losing $60,000 a fight. That actually tightened up my butthole a little bit, because I definitely don't want to see Donald going to a different organization, because he's the type of guy that people would follow. Brandon Schaub goes over to ONE FC. That's kind of like Brandon Vera going over to ONE FC. Right. Really gives a shit. You see a guy like Donald Cerrone jump ship, you know, I don't know. That might change the face of the UFC a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. Now, here's the thing. I've heard, of course, you heard the usual, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor, all these people not complaining about the Reebok deal. One guy who I didn't think would do that was Travis Brown. Travis Brown actually saying that now we're going to see, you know, fighters' managers in their worth. Is can they still get them those sponsorships to get basically sponsored to do shit outside of fight week? I don't know how realistic that is. I know some managers that work with UFC fighters. I mean, can they, Fred?
I don't know, but I tell you what, that brings up a good point. When Gaethje was on the show, I tell you what I like about Justin Gaethje, what I figured out about him when we interviewed him for Stand and Bang. He's confident. He said, we mentioned maybe possibly cutting weight or something, because a lot of guys get to the UFC, and the UFC, you find out that you're a little undersized. And he almost sounded like jokey, like, I'm the best lightweight in the world. Well, what do you mean cut? I ain't cutting. I am the best. So, you know, I think his confidence was fucking paramount. You know what I mean? Like, I think that fucking that shit matters a lot. So, I don't know. Fuck.
Fred, you just lost your train of thought, which is funny because Gaethje did that same shit during the interview. I asked him about wrestling. I asked him about wrestling, and he started talking about his mom's birthday. But anyways, we're talking about the and managers and sponsorships outside of fight week. And he said, if you have the talent, you got the skill set, the sponsorship should be there.
There you fucking go. Right, that was my point, exactly. And I kind of feel like that. If I was a fighter and I thought that I was the best in the world, maybe like Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, these fuckers are the best, and they're fucking getting those sponsorships. Or they're at least selling the tickets to get those sponsorships. If you got the ultimate confidence in yourself, maybe the Reebok deal isn't the worst thing in the world. It's a gamble, because you very well could end up not being that 1%. But if you got that much confidence in yourself, maybe it's worth taking the risk.
Yeah, and Nick, you've talked to Roger Narvaez, who actually went on Twitter and said that his next fight he's going to get $2,500 as sponsorship money for a camp. Looking at it from the the fighter, not young fighter, but like the fighter with very few fights in the UFC is going to get $2,500. What do you think is going on for Narvaez's situation?
All I know right now, what I see on his Facebook feed and everything going around in the city, he's been working a shit ton more, even nursing his broken arm. He's been working a lot more. I noticed he's been going to this local, it's kind of like a GNC, it's called Rocks. He's been going there, doing a lot of promotions with them. He was just on our ESPN 1440 trying to get sponsors and everything like that. He's been trying to get more sponsors because I'm pretty sure his sponsors have been dropping except for the nutrition store down here. So it sucks in that opinion. And bringing up back up Stand and Bang, you have Raquel Pennington saying that her fight camp, I think she said, cost like $10,000 to $12,000, and she's not gonna get that during her fight camp, and that's happening to a lot of these smaller name fighters. They're not gonna get the money to even get through fight camp. So, like you guys have been saying, we're gonna see a lot of shifts in MMA. We're gonna see a lot of the smaller organizations getting out there and getting more talent and everything like that. And maybe Bellator will rise to the occasion. Maybe this Shoto will rise to the occasion. I don't know, but we'll have to see.
Here's my thing. You said it was Travis Brown that had the stones to say he's going to see what his manager is worth. I can't remember the last time Travis Brown said anything interesting except for "I'll quit hitting me in my face." Seriously. So I think that's a stupid thing, man. Don't put it on your manager. It's what Gaethje said. If you got the talent, if you're starching people, People will still be attracted to you in different ways. You can find other sponsorships, but don't lame duck it and be like, if I have a good management team, they'll be able to figure it out for me. No, fuck you. You're a fucking you're a free agent. You're a, what do they call that there? You're a subcontractor. You figure it out yourself, Travis Brown. You start winning fights again. Then maybe you'll get some more sponsorships outside of Fight Week. Don't put it on your manager. I hate that shit because that plays right into the UFC's idea of the manager-less fighter. And I don't like that idea. I do like management companies. I do think fighters should pay attention to one thing. Fighting, well, two things. Training and fighting. They shouldn't have to be their own managers.
Or get Reebok to start paying you more like Connor did. I hate to bring up his name, but and do that stuff.
Managers. That wasn't their managers. Ronda and Connor are great. Ronda's the best in the fucking world. She's like...
But that's completely unrealistic.
No, it's not.
You're not going to get 500 best in the world.
You can. It's just how you
can.
If you're that middle class fighter,
there's one best. Everybody is sub best.
Okay.
That's just like
let me bring up a point.
Participation medal in fucking soccer nowadays. There's only one best. Everybody is less than best after that.
Okay. Look at Paige. Paige got a Reebok deal, and she's mid-class UFC in the inner division. Did Carla get that shit? Being the top of the best? No. Did Jen Jacek get that? No.
Time out. You do not talk about Paige. Look, I'm not rubbing one out to Carla Esparza, okay? Paige Man's hot as shit. That's what she got the Reebok deal.
But she used that to get the Reebok deal. She started posting pictures on her Instagram, on her Facebook, and started getting people noticing her. That's what you gotta do.
What's Luke Barnett gonna do?
Nothing, because he looks like you said, a guy from the hills.
No, but hold on though. But Luke Barnett fucking just got his ass beat too, and Paige Van Zandt won her fight.
That's very true. Very true.
Fred, that happens in 50% of fighters. 50% of fighters that go into a fight lose. That's the way it goes. There's only two people in there. 50% of the last 100 fighters that just fought lost. They still have to make money, fucker. If you want to see them again, you can't always go that way. There's not always going to be the best of the best. There's got to be a different situation. Quit sucking the UFC's dick. Who the hell is this guy all of a sudden trying to say the Reebok deal is good? It's bad. Fuck you.
I'm not trying to, but if they want to get paid. Okay, look at this weekend's card. You have John Moraga, middle class of his division, right? If he needs to make a name for himself, you win that fight and you start calling out everybody. You start making a name for yourself. Do something stupid, crazy. Be like Conor McGregor, jumping over the cage, going in Jose Aldo's face. Make a name for yourself, and you start getting that little extra bucks from Reebok. Guaranteed it. I don't like the Reebok deal, but I'm pretty sure they'll start paying people if they start making a name for themselves and start doing that little bit extra.
Go to Bellator then.
Or go to Bellator and fight Kimbo Slice and all the
Okay, so
rejects.
Now, Fred, you've already turned 180, where just a couple seconds ago you were like, I don't want the UFC to get all split up because I'll never see the fights I want to. But now you're saying suck a dick. If Reebok don't pay you enough, go to Bellator.
Well, what the fuck? You got to live in reality, right? If you guys are going to say that, if you're going to go, oh, well, they're not getting enough money for their fucking training camp and the like, then what the fuck are you going to do? Then go to Bellator, I guess. I didn't sign the Reebok deal. I don't want to see them go. But hold on, though. You're right. If it's just the lower fighters that never break that pendulum that end up going, sorry to see you go. And listen, congrats. Go to Bellator, fucking NASCAR out your shorts and your banner, make a whole shitload of money.
Okay.
Make Viacom.
All right. Wait. Because we already brought up a great one. You telling me Donald Cerrone doesn't make noise?
He does make noise.
He does. He ain't written up.
No, wait. He ain't a popular fighter. He's not on an awesome win streak. Where's his extra Reebok money?
I guarantee you, when he wins this weekend, he'll get that extra money, and he will not be bitching anymore. He will not say a word.
I will bet you're wrong.
Okay. We'll talk about this next week.
No.
When you find out. Because I guarantee you, if... Go ahead.
But the Budweiser sponsorship, did he lose that?
Not yet. Not that I know of.
Well, then what the fuck is he complaining about?
60 grand is a lot of money, man. I'll be complaining the shit out of that, too.
How much is Budweiser paying him?
Probably
I have no idea.
Shitload. He travels the whole fucking world. He probably has the money. He's just saying, "Hey, I lost $60,000 because one sponsor dropped off, but I still probably have all these other ones." But I guaranteed, if he knocks out who the hell McDessie this weekend, guarantee Reebok's gonna pitch him a little bit more money for doing it.
But hold on though, if he did not lose his Budweiser sponsorship, do you guys think that Budweiser still sponsors him if he goes to Bellator, regardless of what he wears to the cage?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
So I think his affiliation with being known as a UFC fighter is better than him actually wearing the logo into Bellator.
True.
See,
I
wait a
can
second.
understand
Nick,
that.
I
I can
actually want
understand
to
that.
ask Nick something seriously. Do you know something that we don't? What is extra Reebok money?
Well, like what you're trying to say, you said it that the top is going to get paid, that everyone's bitching that I lost all the sponsorships, but why isn't Paige bitching? Why isn't fucking Connor bitching?
Because
Why are they
because
saying
they
it?
actually got an individual sponsorship from Reebok.
Exactly. Get an individual sponsorship from Reebok
Right,
and
but
make a
they're
name
not
for
gonna
yourself.
sponsor 500 athletes.
They're not going to sponsor 500 athletes, but if you want to make a name for yourself, those people that are the people like Cowboy Cerrone.
Technically, they are sponsoring 500 athletes. I'm just saying. They might not be paying them a lot, but they are sponsoring them.
Hey, look, they're sponsoring. Look,
I said
they're sponsoring
seriously.
Eddie right
I said
now. Look at his damn shirt.
You prick.
I know. Calm down, Dr. Feelgood. I know, individually.
We already know from the industry insiders that we talk to and the fighters that we talk to, there's already about 25 fighters that are taken care of very well. And I'm willing to say that Reebok isn't going to spread that any thinner. They have their 25 stars. And that's that. That's where I'm going to stand on that. You can argue with me when you find proof of it. When people start getting Reebok bonuses, when they start saying, hey, look at this, I got a Reebok performance bonus, then we can revisit the subject.
Watch in June. I'm pretty sure there'll be some Reebok bonuses.
All right,
Pretty
you
sure there'll be
cock
some of that
smokers.
stuff.
Enough
Anyway,
with Reebok.
get back to some other shit.
Yeah. Before,
All right, so
we're getting close to we're rounding out, right?
All right, yeah. Anyway, and look, just to recap on what Nick's saying. Basically, what Nick is saying is that the cream's gonna rise to the top, and those are the guys gonna get the Reebok deal. So, but again, we'll talk about this next week. Moving along here, real quick, let's talk about Khabib, and then we'll move on to UFC 187. Your boy Khabib, Fred. Look, he's injured. He's back to talking, but he's a little more respectful, saying that he thinks Khabib Cerrone, with the win, deserves a title shot. However, if he loses to John McDessie, Khabib thinks he should get the title shot, even though he's been injured and out of his last two fights. You're a Khabib guy. What do you think?
Yeah. Do you guys disagree with that fucking logic?
Yes.
Yeah, I totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, okay. Settle down, cocksmokers. I'm assuming, especially you, Dr. Feelgood, I'm assuming that you do feel that with a win, Cerrone should get the shot?
No, not over McDessie.
Mm-mm.
Okay, well then if he doesn't, who does?
I don't know, but win, lose, or draw,
Oh.
Khabib and Cerrone need to fight.
Yeah.
But hold on, you cute cocksuckers. This isn't fucking a fantasy land. He has to defend the belt. Something has to happen. They can't wait for all that to happen. So if Cerrone doesn't get this, listen, I don't think that Cerrone should get the shot for beating McDessie either. But if they don't go to him, who does it go to? And if Cerrone loses, then when Khabib comes back, he's got to win over the champ. Who the fuck do you give it to if not those two pricks?
You know what? That's a good question. But here's the thing. Who?
Ask Joe Silva.
Process of elimination, man. It almost has to be that scenario. He's right.
The thing that Khabib needs to worry about is staying healthy. He hasn't fought in how long? He needs to worry about staying healthy. Stop talking about a title shot. If Cowboy wins, he'll get the title shot. I'm pretty sure. It's how the rankings work, apparently. If he wins, he'll get the title shot. If he loses, we'll find another contender for the fucking belt. It's going to happen. It's not going to be...
Who's at number 6 right now?
Let me find out for us. That's a good question. I don't know.
Let's just give the number 6 guy. Let's keep the UFC trend going.
Why not?
But sometimes that is the way it goes, man. Cerrone shouldn't get the shot over a win over McDessie, but he wasn't supposed to fight McDessie. What are you going to do, man? RDA's got to defend the belt. If Cerrone can get the win, you got to.
All I got to say for you there is Jacare. He fought Camozzi. He was supposed to fight for the belt. but he got Kamosi, and he didn't. Luke Rockhold looked awesome. Luke Rockhold looked awesome against Machida, and he got it. So let's see how it shakes out. Maybe he looks mediocre, or maybe he just straight starches Makdessi. Maybe number 4 or 5 has an awesome performance next, and we get to see that fight.
Fuck 4 or 5, because there is no Luke Rockhold of that division. I'm saying there's nobody else that can get a performance that would merit it. I don't know who they are, but I know that they fucking have either lost to Nurmi or lost to Cerrone. Pettis is coming off the loss to the champ. I can't name off the top of my head, but I know there's nobody really there that would deserve it more than those guys. Even though Nurmi hasn't fought in a long time, he still hasn't lost to any goddamn body either, and he's got a win over the champ.
I just think it's hilarious that that Nurmi thinks it's his choice. He's like, yeah, if he wins, give him the title shot. If not, give me the title shot. Hey, go fuck yourself, pal. Last time I checked, you weren't the matchmaker of the UFC. How about you wrap your knee a little bit better and go wrestle some fucking bears?
Well, we did have the Henderson-Michael Johnson fight get canceled, so they might be looking into one of those motherfuckers.
Oh,
5 and 6.
Jesus.
I know, but it's a name. You have Ben Henderson, who's a name. You have Michael Johnson, who's a up-and-coming fighter. It's a UFC, man. Conor McGregor got a goddamn title shot, and Frankie Edgar should have got that as a motherfucker.
Wait, Fred, what do you mean, Jesus Christ? Michael Johnson looked great in his last performance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what the fuck, man? Not great to fucking merit a title shot.
Who's left? Who's left that's not injured and not Nurmi?
What the fuck? Nurmi! That's what I'm saying.
He's out. He's out. There's no way that he gets a title shot. No. You have to earn that. I think you have to earn that title shot. If you're Nurmi, you have to fight Cowboy. You have to fight someone. You can't just, I'm going to injure myself and I'll get a title shot. Because, look, this is going to happen.
Don't fucking count. He's done beat that dude.
So what makes other divisions not do the same thing? What makes other title contenders say, "Oh no, I'm injured"? Wait for people to pull out and be like, "Oh no, I'll fight for the belt now. I'm fine. I'm okay." You never know.
It's the landscape of the division. It just depends on where guys are at when the title. You know what I'm saying? Like it.
And that's what I'm saying. It's going to be Michael Johnson or Ben Henderson.
Have him fight
one of those motherfuckers.
Michael Johnson ain't gonna beat Ben Henderson, so you can just go ahead and put that shit to bed.
Whoa! You think Michael Johnson won't beat Ben Henderson?
Do you fuckers really think Michael Johnson's gonna beat Ben Henderson?
I love Ben. I really like Ben Henderson.
At flying to the moon at some point, but I ain't.
I tell you what, Benson ain't the same Benson as he was in the WEC, or the same Benson he was just a couple years ago. Benson is beatable.
Yes, RDA made that happen. He's beatable.
Yeah, Michael Johnson's no RDA.
You hate RDA. How do you know? Shut up.
What the fuck? I'm just saying. Michael Johnson. All right, whatever.
All right.
God, we argue too damn much. Anyway.
You woke up the Rafa Pilecki today. God damn, dude, this kid's bringing it. All right, let's do some rapid fire real quick. Just real quick thoughts on. First of all, let's catch up on a tweet real quick. Jerry Couch tweeting over on Wanderlei Silva saying he agrees apparently Silva needs to go 1 FC and stay there. Then we all agree with that. We actually rather see that. So yeah. So thanks for the tweet, Jerry Couch. And moving on, just real quick, some rapid fire. Miesha Tate says she'll fight Cyborg at 140 pounds because she's not scared. First of all, Aaron, does she have a shot, and do you give a shit about this?
Yeah, I absolutely do give a shit about this because I think Miesha Tate needs to pay attention to Jessica Eye.
Yes.
I think that if she takes her mind off Jessica Eye, she could lose this fight, and that would really fuck her up. I think that if she is taking Jessica Eye seriously, I think that Miesha gets it done in the second and third round against Jessica Eye. I think that she's going to really bring it to Tate in that first round. And I think that Tate will have the comeback power in 2 and 3. But if she looks past her towards another fight, well, she can fuck up and have Jessica Eye whip her ass all over the place. Do I think that Miesha Tate stands a chance against Ronda Rousey? I don't think against Cyborg. I don't think Mike Tyson at this point stands a chance against Cyborg. I think that Cyborg does to Miesha Tate exactly what she did to Charmaine Tweet. Matter of fact, I think it's over real quick. She blasts in her mouth 6-7 times. Blood starts pouring out of her everywhere, and it's done deals. Cyborg scares the shit out of me. She is the stuff that nightmares are made of.
Fred, what do you think on that?
Pretty much that, man. I think that exactly. Aaron summed it up. Miesha Tate needs to focus on the fight in front of her. And, it couldn't be a more irrelevant thing, right? If, goddamn it, Cyborg ain't going to come fight Ronda, guess what, Cupcake? She ain't fighting you, Jack. 1,000,000% sure. So this is completely fucking irrelevant to debate. That fight wouldn't happen in a billion years, so
Yeah.
no.
It's just Misha talking, and Misha talks way too goddamn much, in my opinion. So, Nick, real quick, if we could see Misha Cyborg, how bad do you feel for Misha after she gets the shit kicked out of her?
I think we see the first death in the UFC. I think Misha Tate will
Goddamn.
fucking die. Look at the Ronda Rousey fight with Misha Tate. She'll fucking die. Done. That's just it. She'll die.
All right, Nick Pilecki calling the first death in the UFC. Let's move on to another female fighter. Jessica Aguilar was released from the World Series of Fighting. Race Alpha helped her out, let her out of her contract. She is hopeful. She really wants to sign with the UFC, and we already have kind of a fight to shut up. She's got a thing going on with Carla Esparza, who she's beaten before. Esparza coming out, I think, a week or so ago, saying that she knows for a fact that Jessica Aguilar is on PEDs, and Aguilar's like, fuck that shit. Fred, you want to see Aguilar in the UFC, and do you want to see her against Esparza just to shut her up?
Fuck yeah, Jack. I live for this shit, man. This has got a built-in storyline. I love that fight. They're both high-level athletes. I think that she will get signed to the UFC. It's a fight that's already got a storyline there. There will be some genuine animosity and bad blood. Yeah, what the fuck? That's perfect, right? Sign me the fuck up for that shit, dude.
Aaron, what do you think on this one?
I think that I've already talked with her girlfriend/manager, and we're having her on the show soon, so you'll find out then.
Goddamn right. I was actually after the show going to tell you need to get Aguilar on this shit because that's some good drama to have on there.
I've talked with her before, so I got a hold of her management team, and they responded. So we're going to get her on as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, and Nick, do you enjoy this kind of drama stuff? Yeah, I mean, look, I can't stand Carla Esparza. I hope Aguilar whoops the shit out of her. Whoever fights Esparza next, I just wanted to shut the fuck up. On this fight, what do you think on this one?
Same thing. I'm with everyone. I think it's time for Aguilar to make a name for herself, make a bigger name for herself, and beat Cookie Monster. That shit's gonna happen. But it is Carla's time for her to either get that win to try to get back at that title. But I don't think it's gonna happen.
Now, for everybody who's watching this who doesn't know, before Tough 20, Aguilar was ranked the #1 female strawweight.
Exactly.
You guys realize that. World Series of Fighting would not let her out of her contract to compete in Tough 20. But there was no #1 world strawweight in Tough 20. Jessica Aguilar was considered ranked #1.
Yep.
So the fight makes sense on that level, too. Like, just by a ranking standpoint, I mean, that fight is a great fucking fight, man. I mean, it makes sense on every level. So I sure as shit hope she gets signed. And if she does, I hope they put that fight together.
All right, and then one more point here. Alexander Emelianenko gets 4.5 years in Russian prison for after he was convicted of a sexual assault. All right, Fred, does anyone try to make him his bitch?
You know, about 5-6 years ago, I would have said no fucking way, but judging on that picture that we seen, maybe. It's Russia, Jack, and I'm assuming the prisons are fucking rough. And that didn't look like the Alexander Emelianenko of the Pride days. So
that picture didn't frighten you?
Yeah, but not really in a terrifying way. More of a shock and awe type way.
No way. The look on that dude's face reminds me of a guy who would straight drive a pencil into your ear while you're sleeping just to see what it was like.
God damn.
He looked like a fucking drug addict to me is what he looked like. He looked like he had fucking just got off a meth bender and didn't look like he knew where the fuck he was at or why his hair was so long.
No, way too thick to be a drug addict. You see him? He was still thick. No, that's a guy who's been hitting vodka and killing small animals for fun.
All right. Nick Pilecki, who has a better chance in prison, you or Alexander Emelianenko?
Did you really have to ask that question?
Yeah, fuck Alex. Like, let's not get crazy, Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. You're an asshole.
I'm just saying.
Nick,
I was just going to make a curveball.
I'll tell you what, Nick ever goes to prison, he better volunteer.
No, I'm not volunteering. I'm fighting for my fucking life, man. Fuck
It'll
that.
be a short fight.
So wait a minute, hold on. We didn't even
might...
talk 187. Like, let's do some rapid fire shit. Obviously. Okay.
Wait a second.
It's Fred's bedtime. It's Fred's bedtime.
Wait a second. Let's just talk to 2 title fights.
Okay.
Everybody,
whoa. This is an amazing card. You want to talk to 2 title fights? That's it?
We got next week to talk about amazing card. It's already 10 after 11.
Fucking bedtime.
It's already an hour and 10 minutes into this show. We're not going to break the whole fucking card.
All right, let's talk Chris Weidman against Vitor Belfort. Obviously,
Yeah.
Chris Weidman, 2 wins over Anderson Silva, win over Machida, undefeated. Vitor Belfort coming back, hasn't fought since 2013, off the TRT. Aaron, look, this fight is a lot of people saying that, oh, we're overlooking Vitor. I'm not convinced. I think Weidman's going to smash him. What do you think?
I think that Vitor Belfort is a very skilled fighter. I do think that he looks completely different, but I've said this before. The TRT helps with recovery and helps with aggression and certain things. But I mean, he has his nickname for a reason. You know, he really is a phenom. I think that the technique is still there, and I think that if he lands a spinning heel kick on anybody in the world, they go to sleep. Nobody thought that Chris Weidman was going to sleep Anderson Silva, and it happened. These two guys are two prime studs. I think that maybe Vitor's on his way down a little bit, where Weidman is starting to plateau. So, no, I'm not counting anybody out on this fight. If I had to lay money on it, I would say Weidman's going to keep the belt.
All right, Fred?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say, man. I think that this is one of those fights where the longer it goes, the worse it gets for Vitor. In that first round, obviously, if Weidman gets cute, Vitor will fucking starch him. Vitor definitely has the power and the speed in the first 5 minutes of that fight. The first 2 or 3 minutes of that fight, before they actually grapple at all, will be extremely interesting because if Vitor clips him with anything, he's in trouble. The Anderson fights with Chris Weidman are odd for me because they were both weird. The first time Anderson was fucking out of his mind clowning, and the second time it was a gnarly, crazy fucking like leg break. The fight that I'm going to point to with Chris Weidman that I'm trying to gauge the most of is the Machida fight. Machida is a very good, diverse striker, and Chris held his own in that fight. So I'm going to say that Chris is good enough for the first 10 minutes to avoid the kill shot, and I think after that, it's almost like somewhat like the Nil Magny Hung Yu Lin thing. I think that fucking Vitor will come out strong. He might even clip him. But once that storm's over, I think Chris Weidman is going to beat the shit out of Vitor Belfort. If he don't knock him out early, once Vitor starts running out of air and the fight goes on, it seems like Chris Weidman is going to just steamroll him.
Definitely. Nick, what do you think?
I have to agree with Fred. It's going to be that kind of fight. It's Vitor's fight if he wins in the first or second round. That's the only way I see him winning. Other than that, Chris Weidman's going to demolish him. He's going to just pick him apart the whole fight and get either a decision win or a late submission win. But it's Chris Weidman's fight to win, and it's Vitor's time to either get that belt or end up calling it quits.
Yeah, and this is one of those cards where we have two intriguing title fights, and you don't get those very often. Even though the original was John Jones against AJ, now we have DC, Daniel Cormier against Anthony Johnson. Look, a lot of people are saying it's going to go, AJ's going to knock him out, DC's going to grind him out. I'm on the camp of thinking Daniel Cormier is going to have to avoid the storm early and try to take him down or try to pin him into the cage. But we did see AJ avoid takedowns real well with Phil Davis and a couple other guys. He has pretty decent takedown defense. Fred, if you had to pick, first, obviously your pick, and how do you think this fight goes?
I hate the fact it sounds so boring, but carbon copy, man, it's kind of the same fucking thing. Anthony Johnson is going to be very fucking scary for that first probably round and a half till the middle of the second round. I think if fucking DC doesn't get hurt or rocked bad in that first round and a half, the fight turns drastically, and I think that DC can pour it on. And I think that's what happens. I think that it's kind of funny that I'm taking both these cocksuckers to not get snuffed out early. One of them, I'm probably jinxing one of them. So for the record, I guarantee you that either DC or Chris Weidman, one of them gets clipped with something big early and put to fucking sleep. But it's the same kind of tune, man. If he can avoid AJ's power early, I think that the tide of the fight turns drastically for DC later on.
All right, and Nick, again, AJ versus DC, who you picking, and how do you think it goes?
I have to go with DC on this one just because I think he can grind out a win. He's the king of the grind, basically. Look what he did against Bigfoot Silva. He can finish Bigfoot Silva when he was a huge underdog. He did it against Josh Barnett. He's a good fighter. He's a great wrestler. I think that DC is going to pull off the win if he doesn't get dropped, like Fred said, in the first round. It's DC's fight to win, but it's also AJ's fight to go off and try to make a name for himself again and try to get that belt.
Yeah, you mentioned something interesting, calling DC a fighter. There's been a point, I forgot where I saw it on Twitter, but someone was talking about DC's a fighter, AJ is a freak athlete.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of makes a little bit of sense there. But Aaron, your pick on this fight, how do you think it goes?
Yeah, I don't want it to go the way Fred said that it's going to go, which is probably what will happen. Here's the thing. I don't think anybody has seen AJ's true potential yet. And I will tell you this. I don't think DC has ever been in there with a guy who can punch as hard as him. Like, we say that DC is impressive. Sure, against fat, slow guys or guys with thyroid problems or, fucking Barnett who's 100 years old and fucking...
Listen to that bullshit. A laundry list of excuses.
No, it's not excuses. Think of his opponents. Hendo, Big Country, Bigfoot, Barnett. I mean, come on. We're not talking about fucking elite world-class athletes. We're like, Jesus Christ, these guys can jump over.
I will argue with the hardest puncher, Roy Nelson. You said it. Roy Nelson has any time he could put his hands on you and catch you.
Roy Nelson doesn't hit as hard as Anthony Johnson's son.
His training partner, Cain Velasquez.
Roy Nelson's got heavy hands, but it takes a month of Sundays for him to actually get to you.
Yeah.
Anthony Johnson can knock you out with all 4 limbs. So here's my thing. I think Anthony Johnson gets it done within the first 10 minutes. There you go, fuckers. Fuck you. Fuck DC, you cake-eating bastard.
Okay, but hold on. All bullshit aside, we all basically agree that both of those fights kind of go the same way. One of those cats gets the finish early. Who do you think would actually get that done? Do you think Vitor or AJ's got a better shot at getting the early finish?
At this point, AJ.
That's what I would say. I would say AJ. I think again, if DC is able to not get hurt or rocked in the first round, I think he grinds him out. But Anthony Johnson fucked up Gustafsson real bad. You know what I mean?
True. Man, but I think I pick Vitor. I think if something surprising happens, it's Vitor because Vitor is fucking just like dynamite on a stick for them first 3 minutes, man. And quite frankly, if Vitor was juicing, I think he's fucking ahead of the game, and he's probably still juicing. Fucking, he's probably just tweaked a little bit, add a little juice to it.
I just saw pictures of him posted today with the Black Stallions. That boy ain't juicing no more.
Does he look smaller?
Oh yeah, dude. His arms are small. His neck is small.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's all done. He looks like a normal human being now.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
All right, last word to Nick. Do you think the size difference between Weidman, since the guys were talking about size, Vitor does look a lot smaller. Weidman, we know, is a huge guy, and that cut to 185 is a motherfucker for him. You think that makes a huge difference in that fight?
No, because I think, like Fred was saying, the size doesn't matter. I think it's how hard Vitor hits. Vitor still hits hard, and we haven't seen Chris get hit hard that hard. We've seen him against Lyoto Machida get rocked, and he got rocked pretty hard in that fourth round. He got hit hard. We haven't seen him get hit that hard, and I think that's the way Vitor wins. If he can catch him hard, he will put Chris Weidman to sleep.
All right, I'll say that we just haven't seen Vitor do shit since 2013, so we'll find out this Saturday, obviously. All right, thanks for joining me, fellas. You can follow Nick at NickXMicro. He has a show on Thursday. We actually do 5 rounds tomorrow, so come back tomorrow. We'll tweet out the link and everything. Fred, you can follow him at Kirby_MMA and at Gem City Fighting. And, of course, Aaron Robbins is Stand N, the letter N, Bang Radio. And, of course, StandandBangMMA.com. Tell the people about this week's episode. I actually got to listen to it today. I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, but go ahead and tell people about it.
This last one we had Jake Shields calling Husamar Palhares a psychopath, Ryan Ford a giant douchebag, saying that the Reebok deal sucks and that Nick Diaz is going to fight again. And then we have Justin Gaethje in no uncertain terms say he's the best fucking lightweight in the world and he's coming for the UFC more than likely. Now we are going to do kind of a special episode here in a couple days with the guys from 1FC because they do have an event coming up. And by the way, 1FC are going to be able to at least see the prelims for free on their website. You're going to be able to stream their prelims for the first time. So I would check it out. I get excited about 1FC. I think if you're a real hardcore MMA fan, you need to start watching that shit. Start supporting 1FC.
No, definitely, I agree with that. For the stuff that I've seen, other than the Askren fight, everything else was actually pretty cool. So I enjoy UFC a lot. Anyway, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us tonight for Keyboard Warriors. We'll be back on Tuesday. Come back tomorrow, 4 or 5 rounds. This is Eddie Law signing off. You guys, thanks for joining me. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys later.
Late.